Shaun McDermott, 36, fired the shots which left two men with life-changing injuries in the attack at a caravan park in Tingley. He was found guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder during a trial at Leeds Crown Court earlier this year. 2 other defendants, ringleader Richard Bathie, 53, and his son Joshua Bathie, 19, were found guilty of 2 counts of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. All 3 defendants were found guilty of possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life. Price and Patrick Doran were shot following a series of tit-for-tat attacks when violence erupted at a christening party. The planned attack took place on the afternoon of Sunday, August 8 last year. The court heard how Richard Bathie, his son Joshua and godson McDermott set off on a premeditated expedition to the caravan park following violent incidents earlier in the day. CCTV footage from the Bathie's farm on Woodhouse Lane, East Ardsley, showed Joshua Bathie carrying a shotgun and his father backing the JCB digger out of a farm building. They also armed themselves with a scythe-style weapon and a machete. John Elvidge, prosecuting, said. The attack was planned and it was premeditated. The 3 defendants drove to the caravan park close to the M62 in Tingley Lane, where Richard Bathie used a digger to block the exit. The yard was home to many of Mr. Price's family, including women and young children who were present at the time of the attack. All 3 defendants then got out of the vehicles carrying the shotgun and weapons. During the trial, witnesses described the series of rapid and shocking events that then took place. The windows of cars parked alongside caravans were smashed. The double-barreled shotgun was discharged, reloaded and fired again. McDermott was seen holding the gun and firing it at Mr. Price as he tried to grab the barrel during a scuffle. Mr. Doran was then shot and had fingers blown off his hand. The second shot was then aimed at his groin. The Bathies and McDermott drove back to the farm on Woodhouse Lane. They handed the gun to a 4th man, Edward Sr., and it was eventually concealed in a large stack of hay bales. Sr., 26, of Dewsbury Road, Tingley, pleaded guilty to doing an act intended to pervert the course of justice during the trial. Mr. Doran and Mr. Price suffered life-changing injuries in the attack and have both had to undergo a series of operations. The court heard today that Mr. Doran is suffering from PTSD. In a victim impact statement, he said he was constantly looking over his shoulder, while Mr. Price said he lives in a constant state of panic. McDermott, of Batley Road, Tingley, has previous convictions for relatively minor offences including criminal damage, the court heard. Richard Bathie, of Woodhouse Lane, East Ardsley, has a previous conviction for assault in 1986, while Joshua Bathie, of the same address, has no previous convictions. Mitigating for Joshua Bathie, Satin and Beharrell said. It is one thing for a young man to be influenced by peers, it's another thing to be influenced by a family member and a family member with authority. This is very much a young man who followed, rather than led. He accepts responsibility for his actions. He wishes he could turn back time. During mitigation, the court heard that Richard Bathie had contributed significantly to the local economy as the owner of the farm, while it was said that McDermott had a commendable work record. Passing his sentencing remarks, Judge Rodney Jameson QC said that Richard Bathie was principally responsible for the caravan park attack. He concluded that McDermott was much less culpable than both of the Bathies until the moment he took the shotgun from the pickup truck. The judge took into account Joshua Bathie's age when committing the offense and concluded he played a lesser role than his father. Speaking to all 3 defendants, Judge Jameson said. There was some time, as you all drove some miles from the family farm to the yard, to reflect on what you were doing and to stop. That didn't happen. Judge Jameson added that the attack had caused severe psychological and physical harm to both victims, as well as harm to those who were at the caravan park at the time of the attack. He said. This was a group attack at the home of a family, including innocent women and children. It is apparent the impact on the whole family has been immense and is likely to be lifelong. McDermott was sentenced to 34 years in prison. Richard Bathie was handed 21 years in jail and must serve at least 14 years before he is released. Joshua Bathie was sentenced to 15 years in a young offenders institution and will eventually be moved to an adult jail. Sr. is due to be sentenced on September 5 this year. Senior Investigating Officer, Detective Chief Inspector Vanessa Rolfe, said. This was a truly shocking incident where a legally held firearm was used with potentially murderous consequences in a premeditated attack fueled by rage and the thirst for revenge. The victims suffered absolutely horrendous injuries and could easily have been killed. They have both been left with serious physical injuries and mental trauma that will affect them for the rest of their lives. McDermott fired the shots, but Richard and Joshua Bathie are just as guilty as he is, as they knew full well they were going after the victims with a loaded shotgun bent on bloody revenge. Regardless of the events leading up to the shooting, there can be absolutely no justification for the appalling actions of these 3.